We're here with Brian Knappenberger. And I should remember that because you said we've met before. Was it last year?
We have, actually 2 years ago. I made a film called We Are Legion, the story of the hacktivists about Anonymous.
Oh, yeah. I do. Oh, now I do remember that.
Yeah, and we sat and talked about hackers. And
So this is clearly a theme with you.
it is, yeah.
You've made another film, The Internet's Own Boy, Aaron Schwartz. Now, I was reading about this film this morning, and I didn't have a chance to look up Aaron Schwartz, but the name is resonating in my head. Tell us about Aaron.
Yeah, well, his story came to the fore last year, but sort of the brief sort of history of who he is. He was a child prodigy, a programming prodigy, whose fingerprints are all over the internet. A contributor to RSS, contributor to Creative Commons, and one of the co-founders of Reddit.
That's where you know him from.
Yeah, he and the other co-founders sold Reddit to Condé Nast. He made a lot of money. And then he went into social justice issues, grassroots political organizing about causes that he really cared about. And he got wow, what's that?
Somebody's making us margaritas
that
we'll have after the interview.
That'll make the interview. That'll improve this significantly. Yeah. So let's let that continue. Yeah. In any case, he turned into these kind of political justice issues, social organizing issues, and then he got ensnared in a 2-year legal nightmare with the federal government that kept ramping up in intensity, and it actually culminated with his own suicide.
What did the feds have against him?
Well, that's a big question. I think you can look at the individual charges. What he was convicted. What the indictment says is that he downloaded academic journal articles from the online service JSTOR. So this is the repository of research, human knowledge, stuff that taxpayers have paid for. A lot of times, some of it's in the public domain, but these companies kind of hoard this stuff, and you got to pay $40-$50 sometimes just for an article to be researching. So
and he hacked to get it.
Yeah, this offended him. He thought human knowledge should be free. And why should we pay again if we've already
taxpayers paid for it? Why should
Yeah, exactly. And innovation comes from that. Research diseases problems get solved.
So the feds came after him for that. I assume he had money. He had lawyers.
Exactly. That's right.
Forgive me, it doesn't seem like something to kill yourself over.
Well, so he downloaded 4.7 million journal articles, and he got caught up in this indictment, and it was a two-year indictment that just kept ramping up in intensity. And the charges may sound not that big of a deal, but the Department of Justice said this could be as up to 35 years in prison and a $1 million fine. And that was the initial indictment. There's a superseding indictment that ramped that up even more. And so they wanted to make an example of him. They saw him. He was obviously a very intense political rabble-rouser, effective political organizer, outspoken, hacker in a sense. This wasn't a sophisticated hack, but this is a time when that kind of thing is really getting cracked down on.
Did you know him at all before you started, or before his death?
I did not know him personally. I was really aware of him when the charges were first brought against him. But I was on a panel with a bunch of friends of his, and actually his ex-girlfriend and all of that, about a week after his passing, which was incidentally almost a year ago. Last week. So I've known a lot of people in the same communities with him, and that's kind of how the film came about.
So if it was just a year ago, you put this together pretty quickly then.
Yeah, it's been a very quick pace.
It says that you put the movie together with a lot of home video footage.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of footage of him?
Yeah,
available.
That was a big part of the effort, really, looking for each of these kind of moments of his life, and we were able to find a couple of just sort of treasure troves of just different phases of his life. His family helped us out with some early footage, which is actually very moving stuff. Shows him, but this is a child prodigy too, so you get this footage of him on a panel with 50, 60-year-old internet luminaries, and he's schooling them on how to program something.
So it just seems like such a waste.
It's a tremendous waste. It's a tremendous waste. I mean, just a tremendous potential. and kind of using new tools to build kind of a really real kind of democracy movement. He was really good at that.
Is anybody carrying on with his?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I hope so. There's a lot of people have been moved by his story. I mean, there was a huge outpouring right after his death. A lot of people resonate, and far beyond the kind of internet hacker, geek, activist community. I mean, this is a lot of people. The sense of kind of government overbearing here, that kind of prosecutorial overreach that we saw in this case, really sparked a lot of anger.
Can I ask you, what kind of a kid was he in terms of, and I would think this would become clear in the movie, was he the kind of kid that if we look at it that we can relate to, or is he, if you watch him and look at him, you go, that kid is really odd?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know,
is
actually.
He,
yeah,
is he like a human
He had
being?
a girlfriend.
Is he a human being that we can relate to, or is he like, that kid is weird?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. And I think actually one of his skills was a kind of charisma that he had to be able to explain to people things that are, fairly kind of relatively complicated internet sort of things. He was not just a prodigy, not just really good at that. He was really good. He was a great writer. He was great at explaining what those things were for the average person and understanding their context. And I hope we've portrayed that in the film as well.
Yeah,
I think
that's to me that would be a key. In making him very sympathetic.
I think we've all sort of looked at the internet as this kind of far off domain of geeks and hackers and IT people or something, but it's not separate from us. I mean, we all live these massively networked lives. Every important part of our lives has an online component to it, no matter who you are. And so it's not like that's separate from us anymore. We any sort of traditional values, any notions we have of how we communicate, or with NSA stuff gets searched, or relationship with our government, that stuff has to make it into this new world. And I think his story talks about that.
Let's see. It's the internet's own boy. Brian Knappenberger is the director. Now let's see. You have not screened this yet.
No, tomorrow.
At the Mark in Park City on the 20th, Redstone Cinemas on the 22nd, Prospector Square Theater in Park City the 24th, or the 23rd, the Yarrow on the 24th, and then down in Salt Lake on the 25th. And this is this feature length? This is
feature length
documentary.
Yeah.
And people might not know, I'm on the Sundance website right now, and there's right next to all the theater times, it says you can join the e-wait list.
Yeah.
Things are a little different this year. You used to have to go down, put your name in, and wait 2 hours. They've made it a lot easier this year. You can just click on this wait list and get your name on that way, and you don't have to go down quite so far ahead of time.
That's the internet.
Yeah, that's
The
what.
beauty of the internet.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
And good luck with this. And I think you'll be seeing this on various television outlets eventually as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest so far in
All
the
right.
story.
Thanks.
So, thank you very much. Yeah.